What's going on, guys? This is Dave, aka Dynasty Dorks, and we are doing our rookie series. We are starting out with the 2023 quarterbacks. We got Brad, the FF Bourbon Dude, here with me. We're going to go through our top 7 quarterbacks, and we're going to do an individual episode for each. So please stay tuned for this mini series. You can check it out on sportsgamblingpodcast.com or follow us on SGPN Fantasy Football wherever you get your downloads. All right, welcome into the SGPN Fantasy Football Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network, presented to you by WynnBET. WynnBET is now live in Arizona, Colorado, Indiana, Louisiana, Michigan, New Jersey, New York, Tennessee, and Virginia. From boosted same-game parlays to live in-game odds, we have exactly what you need over at WynnBET. Sign up today, bet $100, you get a $100 free bet at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WynnBET. At sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WYNNBET. State restrictions apply. And I said downloads earlier. I meant podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts. Check us out, SGPN Fantasy. Today, we're going to talk about Bryce Young. Bryce Young is our consensus one for the QBs. And Brad, let's go straight into Mr. Young. And to start off with Bryce, Bryce Young is a former Heisman winning quarterback for Alabama. And last year, Bryce threw 380 passes, completed 245 of them for 3,328 yards. He had 35 touchdowns on 5 interceptions. He rushed the ball 49 times for 185 yards and 4 rushing touchdowns. Bryce comes in at 6 foot 194. We don't have BMI or any of the metrics until the pro day and the combine. We will add those at a later time.
Yeah, and when we think Bryce Young, we think about just the prototypical quarterback from a skill set perspective. This guy has superb accuracy. He can progress through his reads, and he has really solid in-pocket scrambling ability. And I say scrambling, this guy's not a rusher. He's not a guy who's going to go out and run for 400 or 500 yards or more. He's a guy who just really recognizes the pocket, can move inside, can scramble outside of the pocket when need be, and use that elite arm talent and an elite accuracy to really make a good thing happen on a play that was broken down. Now, some of the cons that we talk about when we think Bryce Young, we talk about the scrambling ability. It does also lead to him holding on to the ball just a little bit too long. The other piece to that is he has a tendency to scramble a little early. He feels that pressure or the perceived pressure, and maybe instead of stepping up into the pocket a little bit, he kind of rolls out when he really doesn't need to and creates a little bit of a situation for himself. And then the last con that I think you just need to keep an eye on, he doesn't have that Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen arm. The guy can't throw 70 yards down the field or anything like that, but he does have enough arm strength to put a little bit of velocity on the ball when he needs to, and he really does have the touch to be able to drop in those passes in between defenders as well.
And the pros for Bryce Young?
Yeah, it's all about the accuracy, right? We talked about the accuracy. We talked about the way he can progress through reads. And we talked about his scrambling ability. So those are the 3 big things for me from a Bryce Young perspective. You want to see a quarterback that can make all those throws, which he can, and a guy who can throw them accurately. The really nice thing about Bryce Young is when you watch, he doesn't put his receivers at risk. So when you watch him, you may see, that ball was low and inside. Well, that ball was low and inside because the defender, he had a safety over the top that may have been able to just clobber him had the ball been high and inside, right? So he's really good at placing the ball to protect his wide receivers as well, which is, I think, a key thing when you're watching film on these guys.
Yeah, and when you're talking about a super flex or one quarterback, you want a guy that can show an upside with passing. Last year, he had 4,872 yards, 47 touchdowns, and 7 interceptions. Much better 2021 than 2022. Still, both were great years, had a nice TD to interception ratio. And although he doesn't have the rushing volume that you would like, he has 7 rushing touchdowns, so he can, find the end zone. But just that passing volume and doing it against elite competition in the SEC really sets him above. He is our consensus QB1, and for most people, he's either the 1A or the 1B with CJ Stroud. You have player comp for him, Brad?
Yeah, I think for me, it's, you'll hear about his sleight of size from an NFL quarterback perspective. I'm not worried about his size. There are a lot of players that are quote unquote undersized from an NFL perspective. And his is not super concerning to me because, like you said, we saw him playing elite defenses in the SEC and really playing very well for the 2 years that he was a starter. So I look very much from it. Again, we talk about superb accuracy. This guy is that good. He reminds me of Drew Brees in that aspect of things. He can make any throw, and he can make that throw extremely accurate. And if you think about it, Drew Brees was a shorter, undersized guy as well, working behind the line of scrimmage. And if you ask me, he had a pretty solid career. So,
yeah, pretty solid career. We all cried when Drew Brees looked back over his shoulder, leaving the Superdome. So that's it on Bryce Young. We appreciate all of you checking this out. Make sure you check out the rest. The next will be CJ Stroud.
Yeah, and this episode was brought to you again by WynnBET. WynnBET is the official online sports book of the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. WynnBET is active in a bunch of states, and there are tons of ways to win, including live betting and same-game parlays. And the NFL playoffs are here. WynnBET is running great promos, odds, and payouts, and they are happening right now at wynnbet.com. So if you're ready to play, sign up today and receive a special offer. Bet $100, get $100. Limited to state availability. And of course, if you hit the biggest long shot parlay of the week, they do offer you a $1,000 free credit. There is so many things to choose from. All you have to do is head over to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/wynnbet so they know we sent you. Again, that's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WYNNBET to claim your free bets today. Offer is subject to change. Terms and conditions at wynnbet.com. Must be 21 or older and present in the state where playthrough WynnBET is available. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, call 1-800-522-4700.
Boom.